Martin Muses and a different kind of morning, maybe a bit of a golden one. I am frankly incredibly exhausted because I'm too old for this ish. I am way too old for this. I was like, I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm talking with my mama about 10 o'clock or whatever. And then Ted Cruz won. And I'm like, really? So then I had to call mom and talk with her about that. And then it's like, okay, I'm really going to sleep. And then things started to go in a certain direction. So no, I did not get a lot of sleep. Hot one. Yay, it's Archer Collins all the way from the future and across the pond. Thank you. You had your fireworks over there and we had ours here. Happy Frabulous day. Yes, yeah. No, I want to be a little bit cautious here about this idea of utopia. I've talked about this before, that Utopia was a work written by St. Thomas More, a Christian humanist, and his whole point was he was making the perfect government and just described it. It was just so awesome, perfect. Yeah. This is great. And everyone lives in harmony. Yay! But utopia is a pun with the Greek that means nowhere. So just keep that in mind. Utopia is nowhere. Not going to happen on Earth. Every time people have tried it, well, you know what's happened if you know European history. It is Heisman. Hello. God bless the USA. Hell yes. Archer Collins says, our election was July 4th. Yours was November 5th. Oh my gosh. Isn't that ironic? I didn't even think about that. Good call, Archer Collins. Yeah, isn't that wild? Though I might have opinions about the whole Guy Fawkes thing, Hal. I'm also not an A-HOLE. I can still have some fun. We're not all so uptight. So, I guess I give everyone full permission in the chat to gloat as much as they want. Here's what surprised me. What surprised me was how much of a blowout it was. That surprised me. I really thought it was gonna be really close and that we were gonna have all these recounts and all that, but it was impossible to do because he was up by like 200,000, 300,000. I mean, it was just like, no way. Last night was the greatest night ever. Oh, Archer Collins says 2 months. I hadn't made the connection until someone pointed it out. Ah, there we go. Well, I think ours turned out a little bit better. How do I put this gently? Hell hath no fury like an electorate scorned. You crap on the citizens will return the favor. So, yay. How are things going to look going forward? I don't know. But I think we can laugh, we can have fun, and you know what? I'm going to make this a general thing here with my banner. Like, about what would you like to muse? I just really felt like I wanted to go live, and I was gonna do a live yesterday, and it didn't happen. Kelly Lynch says, "Last night was so freaking awesome. Most of my work colleagues are zombies today." Oh, yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is that you have to, like, kinda duck your head. It's like, what, you got the scarlet, R on your chest, so I don't consider myself an R. What I'm really excited about is the coalition that's being built, and I think and it's across the aisle with independents and Democrats who have been left without a home. Kelly Lynn says, Archer Call and I thought the exact same thing, except that your July 4th wasn't as much fun as ours. Yeah. We were all up way too late. Yes. I mean, I'm just too old for that. But thanks be to God I didn't have to go into work today. Archer Collins says, a certain religious teacher in Israel would put it. Wins public vote, wins college, wins Senate. God may have had a hand in it somewhere. Well, I think so. There were lots of people posting pictures of the Blessed Mother because there's been lots of rosaries being prayed. And if you know anything about 20th century rosary lore, it was traditionally prayed against the Soviet Union based on the apparitions from Fatima. She's okay with that. Yeah. To be fair, we never really had a chance. Yeah, and Archer Collins, I think it's something to consider that Labor got in with less than, what, 30% of the vote because of the way the system works over there. Now we just have to keep the House. Oh, okay, is that a fait accompli? Has anything been flipped? Archer Collins says, "Not that the rabbi was over the moon or anything earlier." Oh, okay. Oh, you know what's interesting? When you said as a certain religious teacher in Israel, when I first saw that, I thought you were talking about, like, Jesus. But you're talking literally a certain religious Israel. I'm not entirely sure who you're referring to, but that's alright. And about what would you like to muse? Because we don't have to talk about this, but, we are definitely living in an Amish paradise. The Amish have it down. I'm thinking they know more than we do. They live out in the middle of nowhere. They don't have anything connected with this crazy world, right? No electricity and all of that. But man, did they come out to help the people in North Carolina, the people affected by the hurricanes, and apparently helped a little bit in Pennsylvania. Though I don't know if their numbers are high enough to have made a difference, but so what? Okay, Kelly Lynn says, last I heard the R's had a net pickup of 1, but California's being California, so who knows? Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to tell with California because once you get outside of the urban areas, you're dealing with red. Oh, yeah, the tears less if they're having a meltdown. Yeah. Well, I'm not necessarily one of those that would sit around and take pleasure in people that are generally genuinely suffering because I think people have been really, really misled. On the other hand, a lot of these same people didn't listen. I was warning, people in my area, in my family, ignore this at your peril. It's like, "Oh, no." It's like, fine. I'm telling you how the people are feeling. I'm telling you how we're feeling. As a Roman Catholic, I was telling people, listen, we've had these attacks happening and nothing is being done about it. And it's even being encouraged. And then you see all that the Irish campaign was doing with Catholics. And I'm like, ignore us at your peril. And Christians in general, but definitely a lot of targeting at Catholics. And I always say, why do they target Catholics so much? It doesn't mean that, they don't want to target other Christians, but we're the biggest. So of course, you get the big ones, then you can get the small ones. Archicon says, under normal, sane conditions, I'm not entirely certain that one party having the White House, the Senate, and the House is necessarily a good thing, but then we no longer live in a sane world. Yeah. Ideally, we have checks and balances. Yes, exactly. But in this case, it being held by the same party is a protection. They weren't hiding what they were planning to do with us. I mean, I just don't know what planet you have to be living on when you tell people, "Yeah, we get elected, we're coming after you." And then people will just go, "Oh, okay." Or maybe people will go, "Oh my gosh," and vote like they've never voted before. Kelly's probably seen me comment this before, but I see parallels with The West Wing. Yeah, I never watched that show because I felt like it was propaganda. With the filibuster in the Senate and a narrow margin in the House, compromises will have to be made. Yeah, mhm, and which is what the Senate's actually supposed to be. See, that's the other thing. The Senate was designed by the founding fathers to slow things down. I just hope that the wind is sufficiently clear that will be minimum disruption in your fair country. Oh, it's clear. Well, the executive branch and the Senate is definitely clear. Yeah. So, speaking of living in an Amish paradise, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, what kind of disruptions we were going to be getting. So, I have been buying toilet paper and water like you wouldn't believe it. I like became a total prepper. So now I've got a lot of toilet paper. But you know what? I may still yet need it. Well, first of all, you always need toilet paper and you always need water. Let's see, what did I get? I made sure all my prescriptions were filled. My car was full of gas. My cat's prescription was even refilled. I had plenty of cat food, cat litter, and canned food, perishable food, fuel. You know, if I needed to heat my house from in the fireplace, though, dang it, I'm where I live. I don't even sure I need it. See, Archer says, as a non-American, I found the West Wing interesting. The last couple of seasons are built around election has some interesting insights in how they work. Ah, well, that is interesting. Yeah, I think that a lot of people don't understand how it works over here. And I would say vice versa. We don't always understand how it works in Europe, especially where they have a parliamentary system. I sometimes debate which one is best. I still like ours because we have that extra layer of protection. We have a triangle, and I think that that's worked pretty good, pretty well. Yeah, last night I was gonna actually do a rosary because I know some people like to, hear me when I pray those rosaries, except then my mom called. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." So, not that I've got anything against my mother, I love her, but we talked for, like, 2 hours, and I'm like, "Okay, yeah, this isn't gonna happen." And then, it's on and off all night. The civics teacher in me is still completely fascinated by the whole process every time it happens. It's big, though. I don't know when the last time a Republican got the popular vote, because Bush, didn't. It might have been the elder Bush. So who knows? I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything that would make YouTube get mad at me, but we shall see. Arch Collins always confused me. You have an electoral college run this a straight vote and then only vote for party, not prime minister. But then we only vote for party and not prime minister. Yes. Yeah, well, the electoral college has to do with the entire country being represented. Because if we didn't have the electoral college, literally 3 cities would be able to elect the president. It's insane. So this way we're guaranteed a proportional participation. It was actually very clever. The whole voting for the party, not the people, I see the benefit of that in the parliamentary system because in a way that's kind of what we do here anyways. Were people really voting for the candidates or were they voting for, let's just say, red or blue? It is Steve Kenobi all the way from the future who, I don't know, had a late night and early morning. It is just like a scene from a movie, A Turning Point. Things that look the darkness, and then the wagons with thousands of Amish arrive at dusk, turning the tide. Darn right, yeah. Uh, d Amish and squirrels. Did you see some of the memes where Fred and Peanut are in heaven smiling down? It's just hilarious. Yeah. Well, Amish make great furniture. I mean, you have to. And they know their stuff. Archer Khan says, "Oh, it's the same here these days. Many people vote against rather than for." Yeah. Yep. But in a way, we kind of are voting for party. You can even vote straight ticket in most places. Actually, in Texas, you used to be able to, but I guess they changed the law that you can't. So you could just go in. For example, I could have gone in to vote and just put R or put D, and all of it would have been cast in that way. Kellyanne says, "I have friends in Rare, North Carolina, which is known for white squirrels. So I wore a white squirrel shirt when I watched the returns. Aw, squirrels. You sit on the Amish and you sit in this chair." No, no, no. I don't know anything with raccoons, so I couldn't honor Fred. Yeah, maybe I should crochet some of those little animals. I mean, hey, you don't mess with people's pets. You do not. So, yeah, it feels weird. Oh, wait, someone's saying thank you. Oh, Steek sent a tweet. "Have a good day, everyone. The victory celebration from the Return of the Jedi." Oh my goodness gracious. Well, we fought the good fight. I just can't believe that they misread 2020. There were several reasons why 2020 happened, but they made the same mistakes in 2024 that they made in 2016. Who on earth is gonna say, "Oh, that person just called me horrible, horrible, and horrible things. I think I will vote for that person." And as it has been said, one person who might have been a man, he will attack the powerful, the politicians, his political opponents. I'm not necessarily sure I like the way he does so, but it's just a fact. Those are the people he will speak badly towards. The woman was speaking badly toward the people, the el the citizenry, and dumbly, the people that she needed. It's a height of hubris to think that you are so high above that you can just dismiss half the country and think you can still win. Teague says, people who can't take being called horrible things has never been a DNDDM for you, Marley Gravemaster. It's true. Poor Steeg, he takes a lot of abuse from us ladies. Hey, but I always say thank you after we do our sessions. And we've created a lot of lore, if you will, funny jokes, not the least of which is the day dress situation where we like to go shopping and we were looking for a dress. So we walked into the dress store and I said, "Well, I'm looking for something to wear, for the afternoon?" And Steve was like, as the NPC, "Maybe a dress?" And we were laughing, and we're like, "No, no, no, like a specific one." He's like a dress?" And we're like, "No, like a day dress." And he didn't know what a day dress was, and so we yeah, to this day. And then when we did our, 80s game, there was a store called The Day Dress. Archer Collins says, "Just as" Oh, I see what you're saying, "Seem to me I'm not" Yeah, and I think that worked also in 2020 because we didn't know how bad it could really get because we're very naive here in the United States. We're like, "Nah, that's not the way it's gonna be." And they're like, hold our beer." Steve Kenobi says, "Women wear chainmail bikinis and things where I live. I think you mean thongs. So I have no clue what a day dress is." Well, then those women are very brave considering how freaking cold it is over there. Let me see. How cold is it? It's nice and warm here. Oh, you know what? I want to get my bike. I want to go out on my bike. I feel like a bike ride today. Oh, it's actually not that cold. Oh, but it's miserable weather though. Yeah, y'all are miserable. But that's what happens when you live in not an Amish paradise, but in Norway. Miss Martin muses. So in your case, D&D stands for distance and dancing. You're not too far off. You're not too far off. Well, part of what the DM's job is to give an experience for his the players, and Steve does a very good job of doing that. Apparently, we like to get our clothes and, like, if there's something we have to go to, we like to shop, and we'll go and we'll find pictures of it's like, "Oh, this is what my dress looks like. This is what your dress looks like." And we like food, we like to hear about the food and how good it is. We have in the D&D world, we have something called Duke Grey, kind of a pun on Earl Grey. So it's fun stuff. So, yeah. Let's see, can uh, I sometimes like to go and, like, share Twitter, but sometimes they pop up and share things I don't want them to share. Yeah, a lot of people are pretty happy. Y Some people are talking about the YouTube algorithm, that it's changed. Um, Maybe. I don't really care right now. Well, and also another reason, I'm happy for my folks because my folks are elderly, and I'm not entirely sure if things had gone differently, things would have gone well for the elderly, and I'll leave that one there. What does Steve say? Being a DM is mostly about providing as many options as possible and keeping track of consequences. Make the players feel like they are in the driver's seat. And a bad DM does the opposite, makes it all about them. I only know that because you told me. Archer Collins says, "I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but there's an old series of anthologies starred with chicks in chainmail. Well, which partly homages, but I'm not sure what that is. I'm going to sound ignorant. Well, think about like Xena Warrior Princess. She would fit that, I think. Oh dear. Well, right now my cat is decided to fall asleep right on my computer, but as long as he's quiet, I really don't care. And again, as long as you would put Anything that you about which you would like to muse upon? I was getting really cranky with rage bait. I was thinking of even doing a rage bait thing today, but I just don't have the energy. People would start to, like, post results like, "Oh, wow, they just called this state for the chick or this state for the guy," and then everyone's clicking it, and there was no source, no nothing, and it's like, "Really? Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that right now when we we just don't." Oh, I just was really getting mad, and I used an F-bomb. I know it was bad, but I did it. All right, let's see what's going on here in the chat. It's Biggles. Hello, Biggles. Thank you for being here. Xena was lots of fun, says D. Kenobi. Yes, I never watched it, but I know a lot of people really did. It partly takes the mick out of and partly plays in the Chamlo bikini trope. Yes, hello, Biggles. I was seeing you last night. You were on form. Yeah, it's fascinating to me because as I'm still kind of recovering, because I'm too old for this, for staying up this late, I honestly, I really wanna start crunching these numbers. I mean, last night I ended up just getting out a calculator and running it. Alright, it is a day outlaw. Hello, good morning. I avoid politics, but I was going off LOL. Yeah, I do too. I behaved myself. I only got cranky with the rage bait. I mean, engagement bait. There was a certain person who I have no respect for anymore that kept doing it last night, and I'm like, "Quit reading that. Quit giving that idiot attention." You know how you know if someone is an engagement farmer or a rage bait farmer or any of that stuff? Pay attention to January. If a fight breaks out in January, you know that that's what you're dealing with. Fights always break out in January because that's usually when revenue tends to be down because it's the holidays and a fake fight will break out between YouTubers. And I always say be very careful because if you side with anyone in the middle of this fight, they will pay attention and they will not forgive you. Everyone's saying hello. Oh no, Biggle says, I keep asking him will be control alt delete. Well, this is where I don't mind people being maybe unkind because he's been unkind first. He's been awful. Hmm. Well, it looks like Michigan, they still haven't called it, but I mean, it doesn't matter. Archer Collins says, way back in the day, the Games Workshop magazine had a character called Thrud the Barbarian who only ever wore a loincloth and a helmet. That's awesome. Biggles Met says he is a French shower bag and he deserves it. Steve Kenobi, Mark Hamill is what I call him now. I name him thus. It is salty traveling sea. Hey, pal, we did it, didn't we? All the way from the past, I think. Actually, I don't even know. It's none of my business. But you're not in the future. I know that much. I mean, God bless the USA. Oh, I'm still in shock at how big it was. I mean, once again, they almost convinced me again, but I I just don't nothing surprises me after what we've seen happen in the past. Archer Collins says, at one point they did their characters RPG characters, and Thread had a +5 AC loincloth, armor class loincloth. That is awesome. How else do you explain that he never gets hurt? Hey, look, everyone's saying hello, hello. Everyone's saying cheers. Everyone's saying greetings. Yeah. Steve, I'm surprised your account did not get canceled last night. He said some pretty funny things. But you know who else has also been on fire has been Lorena Creole and Mark with a C. As Black Americans, they had some things to say. I felt that way, Salty. Oh, yesterday, Salty says a dig outlaw. Yeah. It was theirs to lose and they lost it. That's all there is to it. It should have been low hanging fruit. It is none other than Ancient One. He's saying, thank you for hanging out with Miss Martin Muses, our beloved rose in a flower pot. Please follow her and hug that like button if you enjoy your content. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Ancient One. Back to work. It's been lovely. Well, thank you for being here, Kelly Inch, and let's keep each other company as we move forward. I will be hopefully doing some more live streams and stuff, and some more content is on the way, rather. Archer Collins says, I think I've been in live stream chats almost all day for some reason. Can't quite put my finger on why. Well, the people need an outlet for their voices. To be honest, that's the main thing that really disturbed me about what happened 4 years ago when the censorship started. I had never seen anything like that in my life, and it was frightening. And then Elon Musk, when he bought Twitter, that was a turning point. I never really cared for him one way or another. I was ambivalent, but he became my hero after that. Adiga Outlaw, Salty is talking to him. Yes, sir. Density or destiny, divine intervention in the real America turnout and record numbers to vote. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm completely taking credit for it. My girl. Remember on All Saints Day, I had found this picture of the little flower dropping roses onto demons, and it was sizzling. Good times. Yes, Corey Cochran, thank you for being here. And Ancient One's like, hello. Oh yeah, Stigantha Avatar Viking Squirrel. See, speaking of lore, that's the long lore. That was from a long time. We've all known each other really well. More content. So where were we with the middle history stuff? I know. I totally dropped the ball. Well, things happened in my family, and then other things happened, and yes, I need to continue with the House of the Plantagenet. My next one is Henry II. I've got it ready to go almost. The history ones, though, are tricky because you actually have to do some research, and people can be very judgy. But I always tell people thank you. Because if someone wants to tell me, like, you suck, well, they still engaged and gave me comments. So there we have it. Salty Traveling Sea says, did you see that after last night, Disney is reshooting the new Captain America again? Laughed my ass off. The 6th reshoot. No, I did not. I didn't. You want to talk about low-hanging fruit? You want to talk about that? I'll talk about it. If they'd had made Captain America, the new quote-unquote new Captain America, with being Bucky, the Winter Soldier, and let the Falcon be the Falcon. And then if they wanted to switch it up later, okay, because I know that there were both of them being the captain in the comics, rather. But oh, what a mess. What a mess. And they deserve it, and I'm going to laugh. They can lose all the money they want. Archer Khan says, Henry II practiced the most misunderstood of rulers, an entire reign marked by one single comment. Will no one rid me of this meddling priest? Though he said it in French accent. Okay, that was terrible. Will no one rid me of that meddling priest? I can't do it. And he was speaking ancient Old French probably anyways. Truly salty? Doesn't surprise me. No way that'll ever make money. It is Michael's Asylum, reshooting it again after they already spent 40 million. It's pure insanity. Steve Kenobi said, "The Falcon is cooler as the Falcon as than as Captain America." Absolutely. Precisely. 1000%. Salty Traveling said, "Another Disney movie I cannot wait not to see. Laugh my ass out, not even on the high seas. F 'em." Mm-hmm. Yep. Captain America Brave New World is going to be a major flop. Yeah, Disney is hysterical. And not in a good way. I'll tell you what, as far as anything that I might be seeing in the cinema coming up, there's some documentaries, and there's a movie about Bonhoeffer. Oh boy. What is the other one? Martin Scorsese? He's doing a series on the Saints, and it looks badass. See, I don't like it when they sugarcoat saint stories. That's coming out in a few weeks too, I think. Is it next week? They're doing Saint Joan of Arc, Saint Sebastian, which is insane. And he's going to be going all out. If you know about how Saint Sebastian got his ticket to the great beyond, and who else is he doing? Is it Saint Paul, Saint Stephen? I forget which saints were. I know it's Saint Joan of Arc and Saint Sebastian. That's all I really paid attention to because I was like, dude. And then other good stuff. Michael's Asylum says, "I'm done with the MCU. That ridiculous Avengers for Kamala ad was so dumb." Oh yeah. I mean they don't understand that fiction is fiction and reality is reality. And speaking of Captain America, says Ancient One, said character would have ended up in the public domain had it not been for copyright extension placed on Mickey Mouse. Ah. Archer Collins says, "The question is, will anyone be able to get through that stream without seeing Peter O'Toole? It's impossible. Peter O'Toole is Henry II. And Richard Burton, to me, is the face of St. Thomas Becket. Mostly accurate. The excommunicado scene is pretty epic in that movie. Salty Traveling Sea says, "Diverse, brave new hurl." Everyone's laughing at Stieg, or with Stieg, I hope. "I have some vague hopes for Gladiator 2, said Stieg, but I won't pay to watch it due to Pedro Pascal. Precisely. What a French shower. I went off on him on my Gina Carano stream. At least they admitted their motto was down with democracy. Rumor has it that Ryan Reynolds may buy out the Marvel brand. Well, that takes a lot of money. But who knows? Who knows? It is Zach's giving me a rose. Hello, Zach. Thank you for being here. Saying hello to everyone. Archer Collins says, "I had no clue that they were what they were really saying in that Avengers thing. You see, I didn't watch any of that. Everyone's saying good morning. Archer Collins says, "I would be interested to see how the talk about St. Joan of Arc about 600 years between her death and her canonization. I think that was largely political." Oh, precisely. I mean, right after St. Joan of Arc was unalived or sent to the great beyond, the Pope pretty much condemned it. But yes, because no one wanted to get in between. How do I say this? When you got two Catholic countries at the time fighting each other, things get awkward. And then there were other reasons. I mean, same reason why it took so long for St. Thomas More to get canonized, though that was for different political reasons. I am the second best Henry V. Steeg is. I can say that for a fact. I said it and I meant it. Yeah, for my birthday, he knows I like the band of rather the King Crispin Day speech, so he read it for me and he did a fucking fantastic job. It was amazing. But yeah, the best is Kenneth Branagh. Okay, but also Laurence Olivier. But it's okay, Steve. I mean, you're better than Loki. Because unlike the bulk of the Marvel characters, Ancient One, Captain America came to being back in 1941 when World War II was in full swing. Yes. You know, my granddaddy and all them, they used to read that. I've got my granddaddy's letters, and maybe this is something that'll give me energy to finally start really solidly putting this stuff together. But understand, I've been cataloging them for years. He wrote the frack out of everything, and then wrote the things that my grandmother wrote back to him because they had nothing better to do than to write each other. God bless them all. Hail a day. Oh, they're saying hello. They're saying my man. Archer Collins says a truly ironic thing about Henry and Beckett is that Henry was actually trying to get rid of anyone who would claim to be a cleric could effectively avoid being tried by crown law. Wait. Henry was trying to get rid of anyone who could claim to be a cleric. Oh, yes. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. Oh, you want to talk about something very, very political, which is why I love our First Amendment. No state church. Considering the craziness that has unfolded, says Ancient One, after Deadpool and Wolverine, Ryan Reynolds might as well get people together and form his own studio. You know, they may as well. It'll be cheaper. Who was it that basically took their cell phone and filmed a better Hunt for Gollum than what's going to be coming out in a year or two? Archer Collins says, perhaps not surprisingly, as both an Englishman and a medievalist, I have thoughts on Joan of Arc. Not necessarily negative, but not necessarily hero worship either. Yeah. Well, understandable. And there were and were and still a little bit of genuine concerns. It's like, was she a little bit cuckoo? I'm not entirely certain that she would be canonized during the modern scrutiny of it. Steek says, I am better than Loki. That means I am the first Norwegian to beat a Norse god. Well played, well played, well played. Oh no, here we go. Steve Kenobi says, need to take out enemy clerics first so they don't get to heal the other villains during the fight. Yes. If only Henry II. Archer Collins says, sorry, 200 kilo did not make for an easy explanation. Anyone who could claim benefit of clergy could be tried for any crime by a church court, which is always a lot more lenient. Correct. Or subject to corruption. Yes. No, I knew what you meant. Yes. It's tricky. Which is part of the reason why it's just a bad idea to have the church try secular crimes. That's why we don't do it anymore, obviously. I mean, a lot of the last few hundred years has gotten rid of that, which is probably a very good thing. Michael's Asylum says, unfortunately, the government sleep and using marriage in a legal way is massively infringed upon freedom of religion and a de facto establishment of state religion. I'm sympathetic to that point of view. I actually just take the same-sex aspect of it out. I don't think the government should have anything to do with marriage. Period. Civil partnerships, yes. Marriage to me is a sacrament. It's spiritual. The sacrament of matrimony. It is up to two people who bestow that upon each other. What the state does, okay, exchange of goods, sharing of goods, civil partnerships. Yeah. And they will infringe upon freedom of religion if they try to force religious bodies to perform. And see, and that's what some of the things that were of a concern in this election. There was too much talk about, well, herself said there would be no religious exemption for she TION. It's like, what? Archer Collins says that's why you have archers. Ancient one from the creators of the Hunt for Red October. They bring you the Hunt for Yellow November because they are all gonna go under crazy. That's cute. Come to think of it, at some point, says Archer Collin, you'll get to 12:15, which has a number of extremely important events in it. Hell yes. Hell yes. I know. I do check with my subs, and I'm like, damn, I need to have a beer on. I mean, nothing to me was more exciting than 1066. Such a big number for me. And some people didn't know what I was talking about. And I'm like, what's wrong with the world? The Battle of Hastings changed everything. I want to go to the battlefield one day. Ancient One says, some dude, I believe the Hunt for Yellow November is going to be playing Yellow Submarine from the Beatles. Yeah. It's a it's a thing. Yeah, I just need to be a little cautious about this whole golden age thing. It's like, come on, people. But I understand where they're coming from. I understand where they're coming from. Michael Sand said there should be zero mentions of marriage in law or tax code. The law does force religion to accept things. It went darn right. Yeah. You see, that's how I feel too. I'm sympathetic to tradition where that is concerned. Like, for example, were I to get married in the church, I would be married by the state. I'm not so sure the way the world is nowadays that that's such a good idea. I would be perfectly okay with getting married in the church and then having to still go to city hall to get the civil part of it. Got no problem with that. Archer Collins says, I'm actually not sure when the church became really interested in marriage and it took over as a sacrament. Might have been 1215 Second Lateran. Well, it's always been a sacrament. The sacrament was established when Jesus said what he said in the Bible, and because my brain is scrambled, I can't actually think about it. I think you might be talking about when it was maybe more clearly defined. At the moment, though, like I said, I haven't had enough sleep on that one. But I mean, everyone believed it was a sacrament. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Church of England still considers it a sacrament. Um, when it comes to dates, I don't remember anything, says Biggles Metz. Yeah. Well, I remember like 1066. That was huge. Growing up in Ireland and being around all that history, and we went over to England, though we didn't go to the battlefield, and my dad used to tell me history stories. He still does, actually. Like, he told me when I was visiting there last month that RFK got him thinking, and then he told me the story of the night RFK Sr. was ushered out of the planet, got his ticket to the great beyond, and what it was like, that he was actually watching TV and he was about ready to go to bed because he was watching RFK's speech, and then he said all of a sudden they're like, "Oh my gosh, he's been shot," and then he stayed up all night watching the stuff. RFK Jr., it just really strikes me. I was listening to him on Greg Gutfeld's show, and he just happened to say, my dad, blah, 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 and, and then my uncle, what they did to my uncle, and I'm thinking, crap, that just kind of blew my mind, the connection to RFK and JFK. It's like, well, of course, but just to hear someone just say, my uncle and my dad, and bringing it home that both of them were unalived in a horrible way. Michael's Asylum said, "Marriage has always had religious connotation and go back thousands of years. They sought divine blessings for their unions." Yeah, well, that's what we call good dreams. There are only 2 important dates in history, says Archer Collin, 1066 and 1215. I just really remember 1776. Absolutely. Michael's Asylum, I know that vague memory being something the church did not try to control at a certain point. Sacrament might not be the correct word. Yeah, this might be a good Catholic explaining. Actually, do I talk about that? I do have a Catholic explaining the sacrament. I only remember dates. Thank you, Steve. I only remember dates when I got to third base. It is Jacob Ironside. Hip hip parade. We won big, the biggest win ever. It was pretty big. I won't say it was the biggest win ever because I remember 1988. That was insane. He'll let us have that one, 7076. Great musical. Biggles Mets. 100% American. If I'm part Irish and Italian royal bloodline, but I'm all American. Yeah, and technically, that is a thing. We are Americans. And I know sometimes folks in Europe are like, "You're not Irish?" And people are like, "Yes, I am." Like, 300 years ago, my folks came over. And I think a lot of it is because we don't, like, have, like, an ethnicity kind of a thing. But, yeah. My gosh, we're American. I mean, my people are Scandinavian, and I think I would be made fun of if I tried to call myself a Viking. But that's not as much fun as being Irish, though. See, I have an Irish connection, not by blood necessarily, but by having grown up there. So I'm an adopted one. But, we have such good history here. Like, the city I used to live in up north, where things were segregated, but they weren't just segregated by race, they were segregated by ethnicity. So you could go into the Irish neighborhood, and even to this day, lots of Irish stuff, and the church is named St. Bridget. You go into the Italian neighborhood, and everything's like Italian. It's pretty cool, and German, and everything's German, and the Catholic church there is German. Or you have where folks came in, like in Texas, the people from Alsace and settled. And so even then you go into the town and it's all Alsatian or German. Yay, Archer Collin. Yo, Biggles. As an archer, says Archer Collin, I have 3 important dates, at least one of which is most people don't know. 1346, 1356, and 1415. I think you're talking about advances in the technology, but yes, I do not know because I suck. Bigglesmith says, "My royal bloodline is my great-grandfather there. My family has been here for just over 100 years." Yeah. Well, and like I said, that's a little it's a thing. It's a thing, and I like it, because I I like that we still kind of keep our European heritage. We're not a bunch of haters, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Kurt Russell says, "Ancient One, as Snake Plissken sprinting hardcore to the escape from New York set before going completely feral." The countdown is ticking. Everyone's saying hello. Yeah, you are a brave man, Jacob. You streamed about a movie last night. I don't know how you stayed focused. Archer Collins says, "Creatures, Portiers, and Agent." Oh, for frick's sake. The 3 really big archery battles. Okay, I knew Agincourt, but I did not know the other 2. I only hate. Hey, shut up, Bagels. Shut your mouth. Get that out of your mouth. What do you mean you hate Europe? What do you think Ireland is? No, I know what you're talking about. I don't necessarily like the way some Europeans have been. This cycle, it makes me sad. But maybe they'll learn, maybe they won't. But hey, present company accepted. We got a Brit in the chat. Some dude as the entire cast for Escape from New York. Yeah, making everyone go crazy. Well, an Englishman. But you're British, by golly. Archer Collins. We have lots of folks from the future. Oh, he's trash talking it because of soccer. Well, you know what? I'm a big gosh American and I like soccer. And it's football because you use your foot. What are you even talking about? You like baseball. Baseball's crazy. Just people spitting and scratching their butts. Archer Collin, Miss Martin Muses, trust me, if you let me anywhere near the streams when you get to the 100 Years War, you will know about them. Yeah. Well, I think that's awesome. But we all have different areas that we really know a lot about. If you meant the EU, I second that. Yes. Well, the EU sucks. Bunch of bastardos. The only slightly positive thing about the EU, when I have traveled to Europe and I've had to go I went from Ireland to Paris, it was very convenient that I didn't have to change my money rather. And when my sister and her husband went to Spain, I was able to give them some leftover euros that would work in Spain. That's convenient. But I think what you lose is the unique currency, like the franc and the mark and the pound, the Irish pound. Yeah, the EU sucks. My first direct ancestor, says Jacob Ironside, in the United States, come over in 1610 to Jamestown. Hey, woohoo! Well done. Yeah, mine. I actually don't know when mine came over to the United States. I know they all ended up in Appalachia until after World War II, when a lot of people moved north for jobs and stuff. So that's what happened there. I can trace my peeps back to Scandinavia, and I don't want to completely give it away, the complete lineage, the way it works. I think I've said Normandy, but Normandy via Viking, hopefully not a struggle session, because of DNA as well as family history and etymology. Steve Kenobi says Europe is going to be more unsafe in the coming years. It will flare up. You think the events of last night will change that? I just know how much it sucks for you because you've told me and I've looked to confirm. Russia is like 3 feet away from you all. I mean, you touch Russia. So if something goes down, you guys are the first ones to be F dash 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 EK'd ED'd. Ancient One says, somehow Steve Kenobi, something messed up is going on with Europe. Absolutely. It's very suspicious. Agincourt is one of my favorite battles in history. Woohoo! Well, you know what? Maybe we need to do a blowout when that happens. So everyone get me to 1,215 subs so I can do it. I have a family that goes to the Viking Saugus, and I know I mispronounced that. Oh, excellent. Yeah. Like I said, I can't say it would dox me if I were to say how I was able to trace some things. To be fair, some aspects of what evolved into the EU, says Archer Collin, would probably work for mainland Europe, and many of them do not apply to Britain or Ireland. We see, I think I might agree with that. Little alliances here and there. But, what does Ireland have to do with, like, Germany, and Germany to do with Greece, and Poland to do with Wales? Yes, people, says Stieg, will be inspired to get rid of the all over Europe, says Stieg. Yes, hopefully. Well, I've been paying attention to England. I feel so badly. So badly. I've been following Father Calvin Robinson, and I will call him Father. He's across the street from me, but that's all right. And he does have valid holy orders, I believe, from what I understand, because his ordination, never mind, long story. But yeah, he is an Anglican Catholic priest currently. Or is it Anglo Catholic? I don't know what the technical term is, because then I get confused with the ones that are in the Roman Catholic Church. But he was Church of England. He was supposed to be C of E, and then they refused to ordain him. for the most ridiculous reasons ever, not for reasons that he wasn't a godly man and all that. I mean, they were not gonna ordain him basically because he was too Christian. He was too C of E. Like, he wanted to go back to the Book of Common Prayer and all that, so he I think he had been ordained to a deacon, that was as far as he went, and then he went ahead and got ordained a priest using, I think it was, like, a branch of an old Catholic rite thing or something. I don't understand it. But then when things started really going downhill over the summer and last 6 months or so in England, he got his ticket out and he's here in America. So if you wanna go, I've looked up his church. It looks great up in Michigan. He is an Anglo-Catholic priest up there, and he does morning prayer, evening prayer. I know this is a bit of a tangent, but I follow him, and I think that his story is showing in many ways what's been going on in England. I was concerned if the woman won that the threats of extradition might have actually come true because, we have free speech over here, and people were saying things that the English couldn't say in July. And there was talk about we will extradite, and I'm like, Trump wouldn't, the man would not, but the woman might. All right, yeah. So Father Calvin's a good guy. Again, I'm not a theologian, so maybe I'll bring on Father for Catholic explain how that holy order stuff works. Archer Collins says, I really, 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 really want David Lemmy to personally take the UK's official congratulations to Trump. I'm going to sound very ignorant. I do not know who he is. Help me out. Spell check Viking sagas. Oh, Viking sagas. Gotcha. Yo, Stieg. Everyone's saying yo. Part of the inspiration for it is now the EU, says Archicon, came from a wish to avoid another European war. Yeah. And that is a noble thing. And I know what they were trying to do. I don't think a lot of people at the time thought it would be like the erasure of your culture. When I move, I need to find a nice Catholic church nearby. Well, hit me up. I know them all. I know them all. I know all the rights too. I'm going to do one on the rights. It's going to be called Know Your Rights. Yeah, we're fun. You see, this is the other thing. This whole idea that if you don't vote for her, you don't care for the poor. Guess what the hell I'm doing here? All right. We're helping the poor, but we're helping them directly. And if you destroy the church, and I say churches in this, plural, religious organizations. My anthropology professor put this question to us back in the day, and it made me think because, I was stupid. She said, okay, y'all hate religion, y'all hate the church, you hate organized religion. Because that was a cool thing to do. She said, I want you just for fun to drive around the city and just take note. Every time you see a religious institution, erase it. And it turned out like the amount of schools, hospitals, homeless shelters, feeding, things, research, social things, like all the religions. It's like the whole city would have fallen apart. Archer Cloud says, Father Calvin is, I believe, Anglican. He also has a spot on Lotus Eaters, and he got to make a speech in support of and talk to Trump. Yes. Well, yes, he is Anglo. He considers himself Anglo-Catholic now. He's not part of the C of E anymore. But yes, I would say that he is more C of E than C of E is right now. And I think that if things hadn't gone the way it did, he would have stayed there. But yeah, I'm using his words. But yes, I love it. I love that tradition because that tradition is my tradition. I was Church of Ireland. And so that's why I liked it when the Roman Catholic Church allowed for the aspects of the serum and the liturgy to be permitted within a special liturgy for people that were raised that way. It's a good thing. We used to wait for the dairy day. Miss Smart Muses brings up Lady Chorl up on a podcast. I know we're supposed to have our tea party. I know. She has technical difficulties. That's what's been stopping it from happening. David Lammy, says Archer Collin, is a foreign secretary. Think Secretary of State who has been very anti and made insulting tweets. Ah, well, there we go. Thank you. Yeah, for Secretary of State. Most of the stuff that we have, we kind of did rip off from a lot of you English people. Uh, Ancient One. She might even bring up other elves so they can have an elf on elf discussion explaining why humans are crazy. Indeed. It's because they are so short lived. Bickle says, I don't think you know the Catholic Church is near my house. LOL. Oh, are they terrible? Oh, yeah. I can find you a good Catholic church. We have connections. Archicon says, I do not believe in a particular religion to recognize that many good. Okay. I do not have to believe in a particular religion to recognize that many good deeds have been done in its name. Yes, precisely. Precisely. And I think that that's what the anthropologist was saying. 1 hour mark. Yes, thank you, Ancient One. Yeah, exactly. Well, and not to mention the architecture and all that. Yeah. So the contributions to art, which is why it's so ridiculous. It's like I can completely respect people that are as atheist as can be, or maybe hate the church or churches, whatever it is, but can appreciate it. I mean, think about it. Because understand that, doesn't it? When I got my anthropology degree, it was a secular degree. It wasn't, a religious thing. It's like, yeah, that you can study these things. You don't have to have a belief. Now, if you do have a belief, it's more fun. Like if you go into St. Peter's and you're like, dude, the art, you do not have to even believe in anything to appreciate the art. But when I went into St. Peter's, I was like, dude, the art. And then, oh, mass is starting in 10 minutes. Oh boy, was that cool. Yeah. But I hear you. You do not have to believe. And I respect that from people. My only thing is I ask for the same respect in return. And I'm not talking about you, obviously, Archer, or anyone else in my chat, but sometimes people need to quit being dicks. And even if you don't believe, even if you think it's a fairy tale, and many people do and fine, that's okay. Who's going to be the asshole to tell 99-year-old grandma, oh, that's all stupid, as she's dying? Come on. It's a comfort. So, I believe that you can see it through reason, the good that religion does, and through faith. I'm like that character in Brideshead Revisited that kept when Jeremy Irons' character says, "You know it's all bosh, don't you?" And the guy said back, "I wish it was. Life would be a lot easier." But no, I like the ritual. I like it. See, what time is it? I have to keep track of time because I do have an appointment in an hour. Oh my gosh, I have been yapping. And maybe I should just yap more often. Yeah, I did not monetize this just in case, you know, things will get a little crazy. You never know what's gonna trigger things, and I think the algorithm has been bouncing around doing crazy stuff. Um, let's see. Biggles Met says, "Well, I think there is only one near where I am moving, so I don't even know if it's Roman Catholic or not." Hmm. Hit me up on a DM if you feel comfortable telling me the general area where you might be moving to. When Ancient One says, whenever Miss Martin Musa starts ranting and raving, she poses a slim yet cumulative chance to overgrow her vines where she'll go on a rampage where she'll say, ranting and raving, ranting and raving. Darn right. Imagine Little Shop of Horrors. That's me. Every time I think I'm going to do a real face reveal, kind of thing, because I know that does get more engagement and y'all can see my face and all that. Then some nutcases go nutcasey online, and I'm just like, no, I don't need this in my life. Screw y'all. But, when I say screw you all, screw the people that are awful. Let's just be happy people, like my cat right now who's staring me down. I should have named him Dexter. He even has Dexter knives and stuff because I got him that for Halloween. I thought it would be funny because, he acts like he's a serial killer. Let me see. Now we already Ancient One saw Miss Muse's face reveal. A rose in a flower pot that somehow levitates. Darn right. Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah, this was an actual commission. Okay, kids, I'm gonna have to get off the stream because I need to rest my voice and maybe call my mom so we can gloat some more. I don't know. Not that we want to gloat, but if you sit around calling people yacht thieves, then you need to suck it up. Take a little bit of gloating. Understood, Miss Smart Muses, says Ancient One. Yay, justice for Peanut. Darn right, justice for Peanut. I almost wanted to post a picture of my psycho cat and say, he's safe. Safe from, well, the jokes about them eating cats and then what happened to Peanut. I don't know. I would dare them to come for this nut that's now laying on top of my computer and trying to press buttons. He would probably suck their soul out of them or something. He's something else. But I digress. When you start talking about cats, then you really know you're going crazy. And speaking of which, uh Tim Vance, my gosh, JD Vance. He has redeemed himself for his bullshit comments. But he did it a little bit later than he should have. But when he said, I said something stupid, I was being stupid. They should have done that to begin with. But I guess it doesn't matter now. Archer Collins says, today being Wednesday, happy hump in more ways than one day. Well, yes, it's one hell of a hump day. I'm too old for this. Oh, I'm just too old for it, though. I really am. I can't stay up that late because once I finally got off the phone with my mom and everyone else, then it's like 3 in the morning. I'm like, really? Maybe I'll take a nap. Michael's Asylum says, saw Mina, Peanut, Ralph, and Harambe being met in heaven by Steve Irwin. Oh! Because of Steve Irwin, every time I see a stingray, and everyone's like, oh, they're safe. I'm like, have you ever heard of the crocodile hunter? Yeah. All right. So, gonna get off the stream today. Wow, thank you everyone for coming and enjoying this very special midweek musing. We had Michael's Asylum, Archer Column, Ancient One. JD Vance is a good Padawan. Yeah, he's gonna be good. Oh my gosh. Ancient One says, I'll find a way to make people come biologically immortal. We can live for 1,000 years. Yeah. That would be cool for a little bit, but then I think we'd turn out to be like the elves and like the vampires where they just get weary. It's like, man, people suck. Ancient One, Biggles Metz, Steve Kenobi, Jacob Ironside, Zax was here. So thank you, Zax. Thank you. Salty Traveling Sea. I think I already said Michael's Asylum. Our Adega Outlaw was here. And if I missed anyone, I apologize. Sometimes it jumps all over the place. Oh, Corey Cochran. There you go. Kelly Inch. And everyone else that will be watching on the replay or may not be watching on the replay. Have a great day. Have a great day. And be certain to live in an Amish paradise.